Hello, 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 and welcome to Rapid Fire Golf, episode 18, Memorial Day special. Monday at 5. We're going to see if anyone shows up here for Memorial Day. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone had a good weekend, good Memorial Day weekend. Once everyone starts popping in, as per normal, start throwing your questions out, and we'll chat. Hopefully this week the internet connection's a little bit better. Last week we had some problems. Edgar, what's up, man? What's going on? Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, so same old, same old. Hope everyone's well. Hope everyone had a good weekend. Got a little R&R in. If you're here in the U.S., probably had a day off today. Yeah, shoot your questions over, and then we'll fire away. See it okay? Okay, good. So we're good to go. Yeah, whenever you guys have questions, fire when ready, and then we'll rock and roll. I'll hit some balls until I see some questions come in. Memorial Day special edition practice session. Missed the net once before, so we'll see if we can hit into the net, which we can. It probably sounds pretty loud on there, huh? Little net action. I see some questions. Are you and Mary an item? We are not an item. We are, however, business partners. We're a business item. Does it work?
We're quite an item in the golf community.
Yeah, we're a golf community item. Why can I hit my Mark? Okay, we're digging right in here. Right from the Mary item to questions. Mark, why can I hit my wedge, 9 and 8, but the longer clubs I struggle? Usually a couple of different reasons with that. Number one just has to do with the loft of the club. So the greater the loft you have versus the less loft, sort of all else equal, traditionally just means less margin of error. Meaning, let's turn this down a little bit. Meaning when you have less loft, the swing errors get magnified versus more loft. Also, as your wedge and 9-iron, 8-iron are literally shorter clubs, so closer to the ball, more control, easier. When the clubs get longer, obviously longer club, harder to manage, harder to control. And then, you know, there's also different variables with the actual swing. Most people with their golf swing struggle with being too steep and hitting down and kind of across too much. That's kind of a traditional thing. When you actually look at the numbers in terms of swing direction and angle of attack and how they all match up, when you have a lot of loft with an iron, and usually with those irons you hit more down, is where I'm going with my spiel here. With the shorter clubs, normally your angle of attack's steeper. When you hit more down on a golf ball, it automatically kicks your path, okay? Yeah. Automatically kicks your path to the right. Meaning when you have a short iron and I hit down 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 degrees, and I'm swinging over the top, that matches up okay with an angle of attack. But when your clubs get longer and you have less loft and the clubs are actually physically longer, and now you're not hitting down as much, those things don't match up in terms of your path. So just, you know, less margin of error is number one. And just the math of as you hit the ball farther, the same spin axis goes offline. So you're with, like, everyone hits their wedge, 9-iron, 8-iron better than their longer clubs. Everyone. Even the best players in the world, you might just not see it as much. Juan, what's up? I think Juan, I'm saying that right. What's going on, man? How are you? David, my son is 8 and has been playing golf with me for 3 years. Should I teach him a grip technique or just let him grip the club however he decides? Yeah, it's a tricky one. You know, I think with younger kids, the main goal is kind of have fun, let them play a lot, and then kind of clean things up later. Try and build in things for speed if you can, build in distance, and then kind of clean up later. But you could make the flip argument. What if you let him play for 6 years with one grip or one technique, and then he's got to reverse that and learn new techniques later? You know, some cultures, like a lot of the Asian communities that I've have friends that teach over there, they teach them technique like right away when they're younger, and then they're usually like superstars. They also have different practice routines and things are different. That's part of it too. But you can make an argument either. I'd say at 8 years old, if he already has a grip that's really not messing him up, I'd kind of let him go and play. If it's like really jacked up, maybe I'd tweak it a little bit. I only change things with young kids if absolutely necessary, but I will change it. Like if they have something jacked up, change it, right? And let them learn at a young grade. Easier to learn habits when they're younger than fix them when they're older. Keith, hey, Eric, your lessons changed my golf game, especially the right-hand video. Thank you. You are very welcome. Thank you for commenting, my friend. Let's see, from Denver to Colorado. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Tom, which arm gets the club to go put to the right? Which arm gets the club to go put to the right? Which arm gets the club to go put to the right? Tom, can you rephrase what you're saying there? Which arm gets the club to go put to the right in the golf swing? Maybe out to the right, do you mean? Maybe mean out to the right, if you could rephrase that. Yeah, let's see. Shaq, are you still working together with Chris Ryan? Yes, we did our initial collab video on his channel, kind of about like how the wrist conditions work. And then we did a second video with him that will be released in like June-ish sometime. We're looking to do more collab videos this year. If you guys have any recommendations to people you'd like to see videos with, or anyone you know or anything like that, I think we have some people on our list we're going to try and connect with this year. It's on the list with a million other things, but it's on the list. Frank, Koepka uses neutral left-hand grip and strong right hand. Hands don't match grip-wise. How does this work? Yeah, a lot of guys, I mean, not everyone goes the same, right? When I'm teaching things on here, I'm trying to make things as simple as possible in terms of like stock models. And I always try and say, hey, listen, get the V's of your hand on both grips kind of parallel to each other at about your trail collarbone. Some guys go more chin, some guys go more right shoulder, but about collarbone is neutral. Now, some players have a little bit stronger lead hand, weaker trail hand, or vice versa, and they match patterns up to that. Frank, that's probably a conversation that is going to go much beyond the scope of a rapid fire session in terms of like specifically how does a strong right hand match in space. I mean, all else equal, the stronger your right hand is, the more turned under it is this way, the stronger it is. When you go back, the forearm's going to want to roll more than normal. You don't typically have to have it as extended at the top, but if you do like him, then you get the face a little bit more shut. You keep extending when you come down. So there's just different matchups that you can do with that, but that's probably a longer conversation than this, but a good question. We should have that conversation at some point. Please review the grip. Okay. Should your thumb be down, top center of the club? They should be sort of on the sides, kind of diagonal. So if I take my left hand grip here, kind of from face on there, this would be down the middle of the shaft, right, like this. I want it to be sort of diagonal, which would put the V here at my trail collarbone, and then my right hand covers my left hand thumb, and that thumb will be on the side. So you wouldn't go down the center like this. Left hand's on the side, on the right side. Right hand thumb is on the left hand side. I got confusing as I was saying it, but they should be on the sides, not down the middle. Eric, what's up, man? I have an issue staying in left tilt too long in transition. Can you help me get more right tilt or right side bend? Yeah. So this is good. This is one of those situations where you know what the error is, assuming that you do that. If you stay in left side bend too much in transition, that would mean your head goes too far forward during the downswing. You would want to offset that with some right side bend, where your right shoulder gets close to your hip. How do you do that? Is you do it earlier in transition. So when you get to the top, we just did a video on this, probably out next week, 2 weeks from now, on right side bend. Right shoulder getting closer to right hip, or right hip getting closer to right shoulder, making this more narrow without your left hip going forward. So go up to the top of the swing, feel your right shoulder and right hip get closer together as you turn during the downswing, like you're doing an oblique crunch. Like your right shoulder is getting closer to the ground without your left hip going forward as you turn. So I think, how do you do that? You do it, right? You do it exaggerated, watch yourself. And your goal would be, if you normally stay in left tilt too long and go too far forward, if you're in forward flexion, you should be feeling that to the point where your head stays basically in the circle, and then you kick up out later after on. But right shoulder, right hip getting closer together. Keith, what's the easiest way to shallow the club to keep you from coming over the top? I would do exactly that video we did, which is why we did it, so I can answer questions like this, more simplistic. What was your word before? Ridiculosity. But anyway, the best drill I've ever seen, I think it was called, where we did like the 10-4 drill that I said that I saw from George that I did when I was younger, where I put the 2 alignment rods in. So if you search my name and best drill, it was like last week. Mary will put it in the comments there for you. I would put that practice station up, learn how to get underneath the sticks for sure. That's exactly how I would do it. Of course, there's other things involved, right? Club face, body positions, etc. But that's like the simple version of it. We also had a shallow masterclass. We did a shallow your downswing masterclass, which you can find in, I think in the links of some of the videos. You can search Podia. If you just Google my name and Podia, it'll come up. I think it's ericcogornogolf.podia.com, maybe. Yeah. That's also an option. Eric, did you get an indoor or outdoor fitting club champs? Indoor. Who was your fitter? The fitter was Jim Yenser, Y-E-N-S-E-R. Jim. There was like 3 guys at Club Champion. We were up there. Jim was the one that did the fitting. It was awesome. We did a driver fitting, a Mizuno driver, which I don't know if, are we doing a video on that, or is that hit the?
You gotta do a video on that.
Okay.
The video exists.
Yeah, we filmed the fitting. We may or may not put it into some kind of video at some point. But Jim Yenzer was the guy who was awesome. Always have good experience when I've been down there. Would love to be outside, but I mean, the numbers we saw that we transferred in were the same when we went outside. So it was cool. Brandon, I was watching your video with wrist hinge and you mentioned DeChambeau does not hinge at all. Is this advisable for other golfers or is it an anomaly? I would say DeChambeau is an anomaly in terms of his hinge amounts. It's also due to like obviously he sets up, he's trying to swing the club on one plane the whole time. So like he sets up, he has all of his lies changed, his club lengths are different, and he's got the club really, really vertical. Like when you get the club really vertical at your setup position, you have to be unhinged. Like here's a vertical shaft, no hinge. Here would be a hinged wrist at setup would be much lower. So he goes up like this, keeps it unhinged, adds a little bit of flexion and a bunch of lead arm supination during the downswing, and you can play that way. Like any guys that have weaker grips, especially weak lead hand grips, especially like a Ben Hogan, a Jordan Spieth, usually that's why Hogan in his book talks so much about keeping his left wrist flexed and supinating, flex and supinating, flex and supinating, because that works really good with a weak left hand grip. So like guys like Kelvin Mejia or guys that promote more of a drive hold, and you look at their grip patterns, they're more towards strong. If you've got a stronger left hand grip, you're going to need a more of a drive hold release, more like here, more like a Dustin Johnson model with a shut face. If you get weak grip like Ben Hogan, you're going to need to flex and roll more. Now, who's right, who's wrong? I don't know. Ben Hogan was awesome and hit the ball freaking spectacular. So does Dustin Johnson. So there's not one way to do that. I went on a tangent. I don't remember what your question was, but weak grip or strong grip has something to do with the wrist conditions and the hinge. So it depends on your grip. It depends on what you're trying to do with that. But I would say not advisable for everyone. Less hinge at the top goes along with a weaker grip and more flexion and supination. So one of my buddies, Paul, has taught people for a long time. Really good players taught me. And he likes a lot of guys in a weak left-hand grip model, really turns it down going back, flex it at the top, keep it unhinged, and flex and supinate on the way through. And they hit it good. And you learn to rotate well with that. And you can basically eliminate a hook pattern. So I'd say it's probably a better player pattern, but it is a pattern. Tom, no pit. Oh. I'm still not sure what you're saying there, Tom. Mark, should I swing more around my body with my longer irons? I don't think so. I think your swing feel should be basically the same throughout the bag. And then the setup position should dictate most of the mechanical differences, other than driver. If your angle of attack is several up or several down, then you have to shift swing direction, probably subconsciously. But like your 5-iron swing feel and your 8-iron swing feel should inherently be doing kind of the same thing, maybe more or less of it, but basically the same thing. William, any chance of going in depth read the golf grip, especially the old school Tiger finger? Yeah, maybe we'll have to do a video on this because I think a couple people asked about grip so far. We do have grips. I'm going to plug Cogorno Golf. We do have grip videos, legitimately though, on CogornoGolf.com. If you've been under a rock and or not watching the videos, we do have a membership site, CogornoGolf.com, that's super good and cool, where we have all of the content on there. I can help you with your swing. I can see your swing and give you feedback. If any of our members on here, maybe they can comment at how incredibly awesome the site is and our group and our community. Really, I think the community is the coolest part of the whole thing. But anyway, there's more grip videos on there. Maybe we'll do a YouTube one since people are asking for it. The basics of the grip that I'm looking for are left hand or lead hand heel pad on top of the club. I like the V at the trail collarbone. I like the left thumb pad to be covered by the middle of the right hand. I like the right thumb down the side. I like pressure in the trail 2 to 3 fingers of the lead hand. I like pressure in the middle 2 fingers of the right hand. What you do with your index finger and trigger finger is kind of individual. And then in terms of strength of grip, I would or would not change that based on a player's pattern. Like should they have a neutral grip, a weak grip, or a strong grip? And then how do you adjust that? Well, I really adjust it mostly to me based on face. So like during the downswing at last parallel, where your face is at, to me, would kind of dictate whether or not I would adjust your grip. Meaning, if I take my normal, I'm going to tilt this down here, guys, sorry. If I take my normal downswing and the face is toe up, like in a delivery position, if it's toe up, that's fine. If it's slightly tilted down, that's fine. Opens effed. Tilted down a lot is playable, and slightly tilted down is good. Now, if you come in and your face is up like this, and your left wrist is flat or bowed, then I know already, like you can't bow it anymore. I need to strengthen that grip, and automatically it'll turn down. Or if you're in like a cupped position, and I'm like, hey, dude, tilt that wrist down, tilt that wrist down, tilt that wrist down. You're like, dude, I'm trying to tilt it down, but I can't do it. I'd say, all right, leave it go for a second. Let's strengthen your grip. And automatically now the face is tilted down, and then you can go more drive hold. So the grip is it changes, right? It really changes depending on the person. No put. I have trouble hitting to the right. Yeah, Tom, I don't know what you're saying here, dude. I don't know if you want to rephrase the whole deal, then I can probably answer better. What are your thoughts on stack and tilt golf swing? I think really good things about stack and tilt. I think stack and tilt was way ahead of their time. Mike and Andy, when they came out with the book, the DVD series, etc., explaining in 3D how the body works. I mean, I watched and read and whatever, like everything in golf for the past 12 years, like as much as I could imagine anyone could possibly do. And I never heard people before them talking about side bend, turning, and tilting. Literally the things I talk about now, like part of the original education I had on that, outside of like some biomechanics classes, was stack and tilt, talking about that. Obviously, they had a background with Mac O'Grady and Morad. That's what a lot of us kind of studied as we were putting our things together. So love it. I think stack and tilt, if the communication of it, not even Mike and Andy's fault, didn't get so exaggerated on the going left and more left, and kind of just really listen to what they had to say, it would be a much different ballgame. I think they got a lot of bad rap, but that's what anyone does. Anyone comes out like George that has come out a couple years ago with his leg work, like, you know, if you're Trump, half the people love you, half the people hate you. So a lot of people didn't like stack and tilt just because they were doing something new and getting some notoriety. But I think a lot of good stack and tilt stuff. I probably don't advocate as much lateral as they do. But I've seen a lot of their stuff in the tour models. There's a lot of guys who go lateral and you can make it work. I mean, I like stack and tilt. I like a lot of it. Let's see. Watched your video on shoulder rotation for senior golfers. Worked well with my ball striking on irons hybrids, but I developed a nasty hook with my driver. Thoughts, 5 handicap thoughts. Yeah, I would have to see your swing to say for sure. It could be a lot of different things, and I genuinely mean that. Like I said before, with CogornoGolf.com, I'm going to probably not be doing a lot of online lessons anymore just because we don't have time. So probably the only way for me to see your swing moving forward is going to be through CogornoGolf.com as a premium member. You hop in the Facebook group, you can post your swing up. I guide you guys from there. That's where I want everyone to go. So like literally I'd have to see your swing, why you hook the driver. Could be ball position, could be aim, could be swing direction, could be face, could be, I mean, there's a lot of different things. If you hit your irons and hybrids well, but not as much with the driver, I'd say, hey, is your ball position forward enough with your driver? Do we need to adjust some of the feels? Like, what are the things going on there? I don't see that, what you're explaining, as a common thing. So I'd have to see that one. And again, you guys can all check out CogornoGolf.com. Obviously, you watch the senior thing. Hopefully, you guys in here have seen this week. We've been putting out our senior masterclass videos. Hope you guys enjoyed that. If you haven't, check those out. The links are all in the descriptions there. James, just curious if you think something like the power package or hanger is a good training aid. Yeah, I think both of them are good training aids. A lot of training aids are good if you use them correctly and then know how to transfer the feels. But I do think both of those are good, yes. Robin, what's going on? Hello, hello, hello. Keith, hi Eric. I've always struggled getting shaft lean. I've recently found out my path is too in and out and have a flat backswing, which also gives me the shanks. Do you have any drills to help me out? If your path is too far now and you're too far flat, I would search my name and cure your hooks for good. And in that video, there's 3 different practice stations to cure your hooks or fix your in and out path. One of them is where you put a alignment rod station in front of you, like this, where you'd have to swing to the left of, in front of, which I wouldn't do if I were you. The other one I would do, if this is my ball target line, is I'd put an alignment rod back here just inside, and that would be a double whammy for you. Number one, it'd prevent you too far inside the way back. And then on the way down, you'd have to learn how to get back on top of it. So if you search my name and cure your hook for good, you'll see that full practice session station there like that. Let's see, Frank, are there any swing concepts that you did earlier videos on, but now have changed your thoughts on? Dude, absolutely. I change my mind on shit every day. I think that like the big picture stuff hasn't really changed, meaning like grip is important. Wrist conditions have to match your grip. Body rotation is a commonality amongst good players. I think things I've learned over the past like 3 to 5 years that I wasn't talking about 7 or 8, 9 years ago would be depth during the backswing, maybe not as much like using the ground, so increasing the flex of the legs, increasing the forward flexion, increasing right side bend. I don't think I understood that 5 years ago like I do now, or a year ago, 2 years ago, but like I'll know things next year I don't know now, right? It's constantly evolving. So yeah, I don't think any like big things have changed really. I think I've always kind of done the same thing. I think in the past, like maybe my first year of teaching, some of the things I did then I wouldn't do now. But big picture stuff, I think the same things, man. Like good wrist conditions, shallow the downswing, rotate well, kind of are good. And then maybe now I know more about side bends and forward flexion and stuff like that, and matching things up that I didn't know before. But it still all comes back to the same thing. Like I'm just trying to model success. Like if you look at good ball strikers and what they all do, 90% of people could fit into a model of one of those. And then the other 10%, you just have to understand like how to match the pieces up, what to fix, what not to fix. So that's a good question. Do you have a ball striking drill you can share? Steve, I have a ton of them. Give me something specific that you want to know about in terms of ball striking. Or we have like how many YouTube videos do we have now? 500 million? 500 videos. So I think if you go on YouTube here and search my name and then whatever like topic you want, probably you'll find something on there. Or let me know like what you want to know specifically and we'll talk about it. Kevin, can't stop hooking the ball. Got a neutral grip, but been told I aim too far right. Because it definitely could be the cause. Could be you aiming to the right and then subconsciously your brain knows you're right and then needs to do something to get it back to the left. That video I just mentioned before, cure your hook for good, I would look at that. There's 3 drills in there that are really good. If you set up a proper practice station that prevents you from hitting a hook, that will help define you get neutral. You need to essentially put a practice station in that makes you fade the ball, and then those sort of feels will make you find neutral. It depends on why you're hooking though. Could be that you're aimed right, could be your grip's too strong, your face is too shut, could be swinging too far inside out, body rotation, etc. I'd have to see your swing, which you could do at CogornoGolf.com. Okay. It'd be nice if we had some members on here who could like, hey, we have to do some kind of testimonial stuff like that, because I think some of you guys would really, really like CogornoGolf.com if you just checked it out. And actually like saw what's in the Facebook group. Zam, hey, Eric, the other day I was at the range and realized I'm having difficulty keeping my armpits closed. So in the downswing, my arms basically come off my body, which I assume is incorrect. I'm a lefty, so when I do this, I hit the ball to the left a lot. In other words, I'm using more of my arms and less of my hip rotation. Yeah, so that may or may not be a problem. I mean, I could post up some swings of really good players who lift a lot more on the way back or lift a lot on the way through and kind of are not connected and play good golf. Jason Day, you see Bubba Watson's an exaggerated example. Justin Thomas goes pretty vertical. So that may or may not be a problem. If you wanted to learn how to get it more connected, I would search my name and connection, and you see 2 different drills. One is the Martin Chuck Tour Striker ball, which keeps the distance between your elbows close, which basically doesn't let your arms get off your body. You can also put the alignment rod through your trail arm like this, or have an object underneath your arm, put gloves underneath your arm, put a towel underneath your arm. Anything like that would work fine in terms of connection. Start really short and slow and build your way up and see if it improves. If it improves your contact, club face control, ball pattern, etc., then that's cool. Again, I'd have to see your swing to say, hey, you should do that or you shouldn't do that. Let's see. Thank you. You're welcome. What belt do you use when you're playing golf? I don't know. I have a belt on here that is, I think it's an Express belt. I think it's, is that a brand? I think Express. I got it. Lehigh Valley Mall. I think it's an Express belt. I'm not too like fashion inclined. I think it's a store Express. Yeah, I don't know like who actually makes it, but yeah, that's what I got. If you have any belts you want to send over, we'll take them. Gregory, show me the best grip. If you go a little bit earlier in the video, I explained the grip, I think in pretty good detail. You can watch that back. V's at the trail collarbone, left hand heel pad on top. Cover your lead hand with your trail thumb pad. Let's see, Brett. During fitting, we noticed that my angle attack was quite shallow. My spin numbers were on the low end. I know that I have a steep downswing, which I should shallow. How can I get shallow but increase angle attack? So it sounds like, right, so when you make a downswing, it's like the net of all the events. So TrackMan only reads what it sees in space at the bottom. That's the issue with it. So you could have a really steep transition and have a shallow report on TrackMan. I see it all the time because you shallow out late, meaning you could come up to the top like this, be really steep and vertical, and then early extend, get the handle raised, and have a shallow angle of attack. So inherently, what you're asking, if you fix one, it would fix the other. Meaning, if you were to get rid of the steep early, then you don't have to shallow late. That would increase your angle of attack. The question is, how do you get rid of the steep early? If that's what you do. how do you get rid of the steep early? And that would be, I'd want to know why you're doing it. There's different reasons why you might be steep. It could be your takeaway goes too far inside and you get a reaction. It could be you pull the handle too far from the top. It could be body orientations. It could be wrist conditions. You have too much hinge going back. You could be too cut. I mean, there could be 8 to 10 reasons why you get too steep. I'd have to see your swing again to say why you do that. And all these times, guys, when I'm saying I see your swing, I feel like I sound like a broken record, but like, dude, I could help you identify your problem in literally 5 seconds if I saw your swing. But you have to join our community to do that, because I don't want to just give you a thing and let you go. I want to guide you through the process to get better. So you have to join CogornoGolf.com. If I could see your swing, I could tell you very, very quickly. So I would say if you fix the steep downswing, that'll fix the shallow late. How do you do that? It depends. You can search, if you search shallow on here, we have a shallow masterclass which talks about that. We have a bunch of different shallow things. It could be you shallowing it with rotation. It could be you shallowing it with your wrist conditions. It could be you shallowing it with your arm rotation, shoulder rotation. I mean, there's a million ways to do it. I have to see what you're doing. Yeah, and Mary makes a good point. Everyone who joins CogornoGolf.com, you get access to all of the master classes for free, no additional fee, but you have to join CogornoGolf.com and the lessons. It should be a no-brainer. I'm trying to make it a no-brainer. Aldo, Eric, how can I fix across the line backswing? Any drills? Yeah, so if you're across the line at the top, it again depends on why you're doing it. You could be across the line at the top for a couple of reasons, but I would say number one, check your hinge amounts. So if I go up to the top and I'm good, and I just keep adding hinge on the left hand, see what happens to the club. Here's me normal. Here's me over here. So one could just be literally have it less hinged, which would put it more across the line. Another one here could be arm rotation. So if I just were to rotate my forearm this way, that would get me across the line as well. You could be too cupped. And then if I just flatten that out, that also will get me from less across the line. So I would check wrist conditions first. Am I too hinged or too cupped? And then can I fix that? I'd also check my width. So if I get more narrow here like this, I get more across the line. If I get wider, I get less across the line, narrow across the line, wide. So I would check that, and then I would check arm rotation. So if I have less forearm rotation, the color will be laid off. More forearm or less forearm rotation rather, the color will be across the line. If I let my forearms rotate, it'll go back over there. So those would be a couple pieces I would check, and shoulder internal external rotation. Or get a wall. So let's say I took a setup like this and I put a wall behind my butt, right? Like 2 feet. Make a backswing, get the club head to tap the wall back here and then keep it down the wall. Whereas if you went up and went across the line, you maybe would go over here. I would put a wall behind me like 3 feet and make me touch it and keep it there at the top. And that would get me kind of more laid off. That's a good like old school drill. Mark, just want to thank you on your video regarding rotation, keeping right arm bent, maintaining body angles to stop flipping. You are very much welcome. You are very much welcome. Greg, Eric, I'm a senior and having a lot of trouble staying in my posture. Any suggestions? I have a ton of suggestions, Greg. It depends on why you're doing that, though. If your face is too open, if your swing direction is too steep and you're saving it, if your swing direction is too shallow and you're saving it, balance points that are off, your pressure's too far on your toes or your heels. I'd have to see your swing, Greg, to say for sure and how to fix it. But if you do watch some of the videos in terms of the posture videos, again, we have a ton of YouTube videos on that, that'll help. Obviously, if you check out the senior video, that doesn't talk about that as much. In fact, I encourage more extension and swing to the right for most players. But we just posted our video on Saturday with, who's our video on Saturday with? Our lesson video? Yes. With Ken, who was talking more about rotation, staying in posture. So it just depends on the player. We also are going to have an early extension masterclass coming out in June, which has a lot of videos. We did that a couple weeks ago. Yeah. I remember doing it and feeling like this is really, really, really good. So I think there's probably gonna be like 20 or so videos in there. So that also will help answer that question. Mr. Sniff Whiff, love that. I'm usually at basketball Monday nights, weekend over here in England. So it's not on. Great to catch live. Yeah, thanks for being here, man. Appreciate that. Good work. On a personal note, been playing great recently. Love it, love it, love it. Glad to hear that, my friend. How to achieve consistency in your swing. Figure out what you're doing that's causing inconsistency, fix it, give yourself feedback. Thanks for your help, Eric. Will do. Love it. Joey, trying to get more torso rotation. When I practice, all is good. But on course, if you're going left prohibits me. Me too, man. My on-course swing, I just saw a video of. We just did a little on-course thing. My on-course swing does not look like my practice swing. And which I'm glad that I noticed, because now I know when I go on course, I need to exaggerate more. but we all fight the same thing. Fear of going left prohibits me from rotating. Wouldn't upper body rotation decrease the miss left if I don't pull the handle down? Let me start that again. Trying to get more torso rotation. When I practice, all is good, but on the course, the fear of going left prohibits me from rotating. Wouldn't upper body rotation yeah, in theory, upper body rotation and all rotation would decrease left shots. But if you came steep with it and your swing direction was too far left, it wouldn't necessarily decrease left shots because your path would be left. You could hit some left pulls. You shouldn't hit hooks left with that. You should like never hook it when you rotate and open really early. But you can hit pulls with that. So if your swing direction on the downswing is good, like the goal would be if you're going to do that sort of, right, like get everything wide open, you need to learn how to shallow the club to pair that up well. And then trust it, do it enough on course. Like give yourself a practice round, do it and overdo it, see the results, and then adjust like that. Like now that I saw my swing that Mary filmed when we were out there, I know I need to do more of like 2 pieces. I will do that next time I play and not care how I hit it. And if I hit it good, great. I want to confirm that I'm doing it, and then I'll kind of tweak it from there, just so I know how far I have to go. Let's see. To improve pre-impact lag and impact position and posture, would you suggest I keep the club face strong all the way down? Yes, I would. Yes, I would. Stronger club face, easier to have shaft lean, easier to have body rotation, easier everything. I feel your pain, Joey D. Me too, man. We all feel that pain. Even the best in the world. I remember when Sean Foley was telling a story about Justin Rose right before he won the U.S. Open at Marion, and they were talking about his downswing drills they were doing, what they were working on. And they've been working on it for like 8 months at that point. And he went on the course, and Sean Foley said, now keep in mind, Justin Rose won the U.S. Open. They went on course, and Sean Foley said that Justin Rose's swing was nothing like what they've been practicing. Even though you could see him, he was feeling something in rehearsal, he'd swing. It was nothing like it. But it gave him a middle ground where he had ball control. He hit a pretty straight ball there, right? But he wasn't doing anything close to what he felt. And there's examples of that throughout the history of time. The goal is at least you're getting closer to that long term, and that you have feels that produce ball patterns in between. But that, what you just said, struggling on course, is normal for all of us. We're just trying to get closer to that. Let's see. Which is like, how do you do that? Is you exaggerate enough, and then you continue exaggerating enough until it actually looks like how you want. And you should be performing better eventually as you're doing it, which should be the whole reason you're doing it in the first place. Should you have any forearm rotation on takeaway to first parallel? Yes. I am double jointed and maybe a problem that I move my forearm all the way. Should you have forearm rotation? Yes, but not too much. How much should you have? If I start normal with the club in front of me, I want to have enough forearm rotation so that by the time the club's parallel to the ground, it's directly even with my hands. That is the answer. How much forearm rotation should I have? If I don't rotate my forearm at all, is that even with my hands at first parallel? Mary? No, it's not. If I make a backswing and I rotate a lot, is that even with my hands at first parallel? Mary's shaking her head no. So how much should I have? I should have an amount to the point where when the club's first parallel, it's even with my hands. That's the amount you should have. What's that? How would you know? You have to record yourself either with a phone or a live view. Some of you guys still not recording yourself after I say that a million times, which is just silly. It's just silly. If you have 2 Apple products and you want to do your phone and like a mirror vision, that's cool too. Mary and I like live view. It's its own product. You set it up. You watch yourself live. Get it? Live view. You watch yourself live as you're swinging. Like my best practice, and I don't do it enough, right? I'm hypocritical. My best practice comes when we set this up and I have this in front of me and I hit like 10 balls before we go live, and I'm back here and I can actually see myself in the mirror feeling what I'm feeling, and I'm like, oh shit, like that feels different than what I feel like. If I actually practiced, which I don't that much anymore, I'm trying to help you guys, watching yourself live as you're swinging is like the best feedback you can have. So I love live view. But you need to watch your swing to be able to see that. Happy Memorial Day. Thank you, you too, sir. Got to play with 2 Symmetra Tour players there. That's a beautiful thing. Every shot, crisp, straight, high, and long. Talk about pre-humiliation. I played well. Yeah, you know, those sort of players on a different level, right? Obviously, great players, great talent, great work ethic, great ability, and play every day, right? So that's cool. It's cool to be able to play with those players, though. See what they do out there. Hi, Eric. How do you stop slicing? You need to fix your club face. If you're slicing, the root of the problem is your club face is too open. You have to fix that first. If you're a right-handed golfer, learn how to get the ball going left, straight pulls or hooks, and then gradually fix your path second. We did a masterclass called Slice Fix. It's our first one. Slice Fix training program. If you search my name in Slice, you'll see it in some of the descriptions or the old Google. Or if you're a member of CogornoGolf.com, you get that as well. There's a Slice Fix training program We also did a video last week on how to use your arms and hands in the golf swing, which explains that. Hit it, close the face first, close the face first, close the face first, then fix your path, then rotation. For like a beginning golfer, that's how the model should go. Step one, learn how to, and maybe even not a beginning golfer, like if you're struggling, maybe go back to this. Learn how to close the club face first. Not square it, close it. So if you're a right-handed golfer, grab a short iron, learn how to get the ball going left. That could mean strengthen grip, change wrist conditions, add forearm rotation, add forearm rotation. I thought I shouldn't add forearm rotation. No, add forearm rotation. Get the ball going left first. Step two, once the ball is going left, you now have motivation to swing to the right. Swing to the right, swing to the right. I thought I shouldn't swing right. No, you should swing to the right. Get your arms, hands going away from your body, disconnected, flip, etc. I thought that's bad. No, that's good. Create a draw pattern. Then learn body pivot and rotation. I'm going to say that one more time. You should learn how to close your club face. If you're watching this right now and you struggle with hitting the ball to the right for like more than a day, go back to step one, learn how to hit it left. Then make your path going out and then do pivot stuff. You shouldn't be doing pivot stuff if your club face is open. You got to do club face first, then path, pivot, face path, pivot. Maybe we should do a video on that.
Yeah.
Toby, should you lift the driver head? I feel like I've said that though. Maybe that's not clear. Should you lift the driver head before you swing your drive? I don't personally do that, but a lot of people do that. I seen when I used to watch Martin Chuck when I first a couple of years ago, and he was one of the only guys that were really online that I watched. Love Martin Chuck. He was always talking about like tapping the club head before you go back. I see George Gank is doing that a lot with his guys now too. I think that's cool if you feel the weight of the club. I never liked that, but perfectly fine. I don't think either one's right or wrong, but if it works, that's cool. Brian, change 5 things in my swing after watching your videos. That's a lot, dude. Hit it great. Okay, never mind. On the range, but on the course, there we go. I get nervous and rush my swing. How do I relax? So number one is that's too many things to do. 5 is way too many things to do. Maybe when you watch your swing, you identify you have 5 issues. What you need to do is then prioritize those. What's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? And then do 1 or 2 at a time. Maybe you can get on the course. Not. Yeah, exactly. Do one of them maybe. Okay, get 1 or 2 of those. And probably, like Mary said, 1 or 2 of those things are probably maybe. Sometimes, a lot of times you find the 1 or 2 big ones, she's right. And those 1 or 2 big things cause 4 or 5 other little things. If you get those 1 or 2 right, it takes the other things away. But you can't do 5 things at once. Like for me right now when I'm playing, I feel left hip rotation. I feel my hands going deep around me and left hip rotation because that's what I need to feel to get neutral. Now, if I start adding in like left shoulder down, keep your right foot down, whatever, like there's no chance I'm doing that or any kind of focus on the course to hit a ball flight pattern. So I would say the answer to your question is inherently with what your question is, which is you need to get rid of 5, make that 1 or 2 first, see how you do there, and then go back. How should you relax and swing normal is through things like breathing and getting external. Ideally, you learn that through meditation. I would just learn how to meditate. And the same principles apply for golf course, and you're just going to live better and mentally better. But those same sort of things, coming back to a central breathing, a central focus, getting external, seeing little minor details in the trees or clouds, hearing things, smelling things, feeling things. Get in the moment, not in your head. It's just a life thing. Eric Cogorno life principle number 1. Let's see. Can we participate to a training on a couple of days, like a golf school? Yeah, Mary's gonna put the link to the golf schools. I think all of our June schools are booked. I think our July schools are booked, and I think the August schools are open, which means next year we're gonna maybe have to do more schools. Okay, Don, Eric, can you show, or maybe like a Palm Beach, Florida schools this winter. Eric, can you show us the grip again? How do you actually grip the club? I'll do this one more time. So if anyone else is watching, you have a grip question, that's all she wrote. Or you got to watch the videos on CogornoGolf.com. Grip, left hand, lead hand, heel pad is the most important part. Heel pad needs to go on top of the club. Heel pad not on the side of the club, heel pad on the top of the club. I like to put the grip, some guys like to go 90 like this. I prefer to put it about right here through this, diagonal across to here. That for me feels best with my hand and my grip size. So I like to go like this, not 90. I like to go like this. Grip it, heel pad on top, thumb on the right side. Cover the left thumb with the right hand, kind of up through the lifeline. Track my right hand down, get both of my V's pointing at trail collarbone. That's how I do the old grip. We have actually some like really detailed grip videos on CogornoGolf.com you guys would like. How to do a grip, how to fix a weak grip, strong grip, how to mash things up. I mean, there's a lot. We shot our first original like 100 videos for the site I mean, it is freaking detailed. And then we added in some like simpler stuff, but like, yeah, it's detailed. Let's see. What is a good intermediate target distance from the ball? Good question. As close as possible. I try and literally keep mine as close as possible, maybe like 6 inches to a foot in front. If I can't find anything, I'll go 2 to 3 feet maybe out in front, but anything outside of that gets a little sketchy. So I try and find something that's as close as humanly possible, even if it's something like real little, and keep my focus on. That's a good question. Is it okay to wear a diaper while golfing? Yeah, if that's what it requires, absolutely. I make Mary laugh a lot when we go on the course. Sometimes she has to throw a little diaper on herself. That's what my mom would say. Mom always wear a diaper. Yeah, whatever you got to do, man. Whatever you got to do is fine. Tom, I want to swing in and out. Okay, gotcha. I want to swing in and out. Good. How does one do that? Keep my armpits attached to my body on the downswing. When I do this, I tend to pull the ball. Tom, what I would do is I'd watch the video we made last week called The Best Draw I've Ever Seen. 2 alignment rods lined up 10 to 4. I'd watch that video thoroughly. It's the same video we did when we made a video last year called How to Hit a Draw. We just wanted to make a new version of it. Excellent drill. You have no choice but to swing in and out. What I'd do is watch that first, set that up, create your own feels, and then let me kind of double check it instead of give you feels, because there's a lot of different feels you could do. It also depends on why you're currently doing what you're doing, but that would be a beautiful station to start. And if you can't get it, join CogornoGolf.com, post your swings up, and then I'll show you exactly what to do. But I have to see your swing. George, hello, Eric. Does the start of the downswing occur with weight staying on the right side? No. Stay until P6? No. Or am I misunderstanding weight transfer? I would say in a normal model, right, a normal player, if we're talking about like pressure in the feet, they would be, and when I say normal model, like I've probably seen hundreds of pressure mat readings. Like I've probably seen like hundreds of things from Swing Catalyst, and I mean, maybe thousands. So like overwhelmingly 98% of good players have some variation of they're kind of 50-50 at address, left to right. Some players start more left, some start more right, some about middle, but let's call it 50-50. Everyone I've ever seen shift to the trail foot during the backswing, some more towards the heel, some more middle, some more toe during the backswing. Everyone I've seen shifts them out left, even before they finish back, or at some variation of their backswing, depending upon how you define top of backswing. They're shifting left with the pressure of their feet. Now, you can shift pressure left without shifting a lot of your body left. So if I stand here like this, like if you watch a George Gankis model and get the left side of your pelvis lower, my mass on my body didn't move forward, but if I stood up like this and I bend my leg, where does the pressure go? If I stood up like this and I bend my left leg more as I work down, my pressure moves forward. If my lead side of my pelvis goes lower, it makes my left leg bend, which puts more pressure forward without my mass going drastically forward. But I would say you're not trying to keep it on your right foot. Now, if you work with a lot of good players, and they, like Dana Dahlquist or George, and they over-rotate this way, then of course you're going to have them feeling like they're shifting around their right side longer. And I think George had a couple guys on pressure plates who stayed back longer than normal. But as a stock model of players over the history of golf, it would go more to the left. It doesn't mean your mass has to go drastically left. I think most good players, I always say, hey, if you put a wall outside your lead hip, kind of outside your lead foot, 3 to 4 inches, you don't want your pelvis getting there. You want your belt buckle hitting that. So there's going to be some pressure shifting, some turning, etc. But there'll be a pressure shifting to the left. Don't have any experience with the website, but have seen Eric in person. As y'all can probably tell from watching his videos, he's a great teacher and communicator. Would definitely recommend. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. Yeah, it'd be nice to have some of the guys on the site be on here. But anyway, hi, Eric. Hi, Eric. I use a lot of wrist flexion during my swing and have a pretty close face to the top. Is that okay, even with driver? It's okay if you match it during the downswing, right? The issue with a closed face is you have to have good pivot. So a lot of guys with closed face who don't, like, you have to rotate. So let's say you're here and the face is shut. I'm just exaggerating like this. For me to make that functional, I need to really turn enough, get my trail shoulder external enough, or my elbows forward enough, or the handles forward enough, where I can kind of hold that face off in the follow through. The problem is if you don't rotate really well or get your trail shoulder external enough and you get any kind of stuck here like this, or you don't turn, you're going to end up tilting left hip up, left shoulder up to try and get the ball to go to the right. And then you're going to struggle with contact, center face contact, and traditionally pushes and hooks. So it's okay to have left wrist flex and face closed. Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, Arnold Palmer, but they all pivot really well. So it encourages a good pivot if you can do it. But if not, you can neutralize the face, then you can have a little bit more arm and hand action. Like a Ben Hogan, like that's like, people always tell me you shouldn't use your arms and hands a lot like that. And I said, well, dude, like left wrist flex and supination, left wrist flex and supination. I can show you hundreds and thousands of people who play great golf that way, who shoot under par. I have a lot of arm rotation, left wrist flexion with a more open face. You just have to match the pieces up. Not sure if I saw it on here in your videos, but you say a lot. Yeah, good. To fix the face first and then path. Absolutely. Face first, path second, rotation third for people who hit fades if you have an open face. If you're someone who hits hooks, generally speaking, I'll fix the path first, then the face, then rotation. But that might all kind of go together. That one's a little bit trickier. But for a slicer or someone who fades the ball open face, fix the face, then fix the path, then add rotation. Someone who hits hooks, I might fix path first, then rotation. I might just fix rotation, not fix the path, then fix the face later. All depends. Jonathan, been having issues shanking chips and shots from 40, 80 yards. They're not shanks, but hitting super open face help. Yeah, I'd have to see that one, dude. No idea without seeing why you might get that. Very easy solution. You type in COGORNOGOLF.com, premium member, join Facebook group, post a video, I show you, and then we're good. No, I'd have to see that. I have to see that to say why that is. Too many potential things for me to make a guess. Mike, what can cause too much extension in the downswing? Yeah, a lot of things. Could be open club face. Club face gets too open. You early extend so that you throw your arms, make your trail shoulder go internal to square club face. Could be a steep downswing, and then you stand up and out to get rid of it. Could be that your balance points are off at address. You start too bent over with your butt too far back, and then you come in. Could be that you start too far forward on your toes, and then you go back and then counterbalance. I mean, there could be a lot of things. I'd say usually open club face, steep downswing, pressure in the feet, and posture would be the three main ones. We do have a early extension masterclass coming out in June, which I think might be our best product we've ever done. Super good video, super thorough. I was even kind of impressed with myself after I watched all of them. So yeah, that might help. We've also done some early extension videos on here you can search on YouTube as well. I've done that too, Jonathan. What are we talking about here? Shanks, okay. Trying to get shallow and leave the face wide open, hit a shank type shot off the face, inch the other paw, yeah. Yeah, I'd have to see those. I'm not sure, guys, on exactly what it is without seeing it. Should you have more weight on the left foot for a right-handed player at setup when hitting irons? I think 50-50 is good. 55 on the left or 60 on the left, if it helps your contact, is perfectly fine. Yeah, I think 50-50 is a good starting point, but mess around with it. If it helps, that's fine. Samuel, trying to get shaft pointing at belt buckle at address, good. I can do it either with hip bend or wrist up and down, kind of lost on which is correct. Yeah, I can't possibly say which one's correct for you without seeing what you do to start with and what you do when you think you're doing that. I would use some of the videos we've done in terms of model, you know, because there's different parts to it. I mean, in terms of the wrist hinge would be part of it. So if I'm unhinged, I'm higher. If I add hinge, I'm lower. You want to have only as much hinge where the butt of the club's in line with the belt line. Your arm hangs part of it. So when I take my normal setup, I want armpits over the balls of your feet. I want your shoulders and hands basically straight line down in front of your toe line. I'd say if you match those two pieces up, your hip bends, I think you're meaning like this or this. So how much hip bend you should have, or bend of the hips this way, should be to the point where your armpits are over your balls of your feet. So and your butt line's pretty close to your heels. Like this would be too bent over to get it in line. This is not enough. I'd say armpits over balls of the feet with the arms hanging straight line down in front of the toe line would be a kind of common checkpoint. Hey, Eric, AJ from Rochester. What's up, man? Been practicing with the ball between the arms and more external rotated right arm. Driver's doing well, but now irons are weak into the right, but less pulls. That's good. That's a good start. I would say when you get your irons weak to the right, but less pulls, it's good. It's a new miss relative to what you was before. I would then start to check, hey, my release pattern with that. What do I need to do to get because if they're weak and to the right, that's open club face and or too much dynamic loft. So too much dynamic loft or open club face. So I would check wrist angles with that and arm rotation, assuming you didn't change your grip. Wrist angles and arm rotation with a different arm position. Because normally when your elbows separate during the downswing and you get too far internal, that internal shoulder motion squares a club face. Like during the downswing, a shoulder that goes this way and my arm goes this way, right shoulder internal rotation here goes along with pronation of my trail arm. Both of those close a club face. So if I take that out, keep my elbows closed and stay external, I took away that thing that squared my face, which means you might have to do it through left wrist more flex or more lead arm supination, or your trail wrist kind of turning more at the bottom. Been working on some of your drills. Smart man. The one described as the best drill ever. Smart man. Really feel like my legs push up off the ground. Is that bad? If so, what am I doing wrong? Is it the setup? I don't think that's bad at all. I mean, inherently, you explaining feel and me saying good or bad is a bad communication. Like, I don't know what you're actually doing. Are you actually doing that? How much? When are you doing it? How does it affect the other pieces, right? So it's tough. I understand we're on a rapid fire thing where you ask questions and I answer. Ideally, I would have to see you do that. Maybe you guys have heard me say that once or twice here. But I think you pushing up during the downswing after you've rotated is probably a good feel. In fact, we did a video on that today. That may come out in the next couple of weeks. So I think pushing up's fine. I think if you're pushing up during the backswing, maybe not as much, but maybe. But probably in the downswing after you've rotated should be okay. Bill, working on shallowing the club. Seems like club head is going to shoot out too much. And how does the club head get down to the ball from the inside? Yeah, there's a lot of micro parts to that one, man. Work on shallowing the club. Seems like club head's going to pitch out too much. How does the club head get down to the ball from the inside? So there's a lot going on here. At the top, my left, my pressure is going to move forward. Both my legs are going to reflex. My left leg and like my body, my hips, my pelvis, my leg, my torso, rotating are going to make the arms and hands work out, right? Now, how does the club go down? So my rotation makes me go out. The club goes down from right side bend. The club goes down because my arms and hands go down. And also the club goes down because I adjust my wrist conditions. So the club gets down to the ground through wrist conditions, right? Because my arms and hands go down and through right side bend. So all of those would make the club go down. I'll do that one more time. The club goes down through right side bend because my arms and hands go down and because I unhinge, and it gets to the ball through rotation and side bend. That's also a good video. Yeah. So 3 things that make the club go down, 2 things that make the, you got that? 3 things that make the club go down, 2 things that make the club go forward and at the ball is the body rotation, the side bend, along with sort of those 3 other movements. And that's like, you know, that might be chapter 1 of answering that question. So that's like a super technical answer. I don't know if that actually like helps in or not at all, but David, any drills or feels for someone who takes the club head low and inside from P1 to P2? Yes, a ton. If you search my name and takeaway, we have at least 6 or 7 like really, I think, good videos that specifically answer that question. We did one not long ago, which kind of talked about the 4 quadrants. We did takeaway videos. So search my name and takeaway. You'll see a bunch of them that will answer that specifically. Troubleshooting your takeaway was a new one. We did 4 ways to fix your takeaway. We did only 2 drills you need. Search my name and takeaway, and I'm confident you'll find your answers within those videos. Better than I can explain in the next minute or so. Tim, any advice for people playing backhanded? When you say backhand, you mean, what do you mean by that? You mean like you're righty, you play lefty, or what do you mean? Alan, thanks, you're welcome. Not Alan, just assumed Alan there. Let's see, hi Eric, thanks from Canary Islands Bay. Hello, welcome, welcome. 49-year-old started playing 2 years ago. Your videos, very helpful, beautiful, appreciate that. Glad you like them, glad that they help. And glad to have you here too. Let's see, Terry, I drive, okay, 260 yards or so, but always have a fade to the right. Can't ever draw the ball to the left. So the 2 main things you'd be looking at, Terry, would be club face and then club path. If you fade all the balls and you can't curve any of them left, the end of the day issue is the club face, meaning your club face is open all the time, some amount, and never closed, right? Regardless of swing path, if your club face was closed to your path, you would curve a ball left or draw a ball as a right-handed golfer. So I would look at the club face first. Why is it too far open? Is my grip too weak? Are my wrist conditions too cupped? Do I not have enough forearm rotation? I'd look at those 3 first, and then I would look at path. Can I get my path going to the right? I would bet, Terry, if you watch the last video we did, the best draw I've ever seen, which is that 10-4 station with the sticks, and you gradually learned, actually the 2 videos we did last week, the number 1 was how to use your arms and hands in a golf swing, which talked about supination and flexion. close the face, close the face, close the face, and you did that first for like a month, and then you put the force station in and had those same feels, you would draw the ball for sure within the next like 30 to 60 days, maybe in one day, but within the next 30 to 60 days for sure, if you set it up correctly, went slow enough and exaggerated enough, for sure. Let's see, on course, what feels should I have to hit a push draw? If my natural phase is slight, I'm struggling with this one. If my natural flight is a slight pull fade. So if your natural flight is a pull fade, then you have a path, kind of basically, you have path and phase, same thing. I would answer this by having you answer your own question, which is I would find a practice station and feels on the range at the end of your range sessions that you predictably hit the ball right to left and that hit your push draw that you want, and use those feels, right? I can't possibly know exactly why you get that or how to do it, but I would use the resources that we give you in terms of the videos, set up a draw station like the one I keep mentioning here, get the ball curving right to left like that only the best draw I've ever seen. That would work for you as well. Learn how to miss the sticks, learn how to start right, curve left, and what do you feel? Then take that on the course, probably exaggerate a little more, and then do it. That could be you feeling like the club's working more out to the right and supinating. That could be changing your aim and ball position. That could be a couple different things. But I would say you need to answer that question yourself and then take that onto the course. Eric, I have a problem with early release. Change my grip so the face is square, if not closed, but still with holding lag and release. Can you help? I don't know. Yeah, another one where I'd have to see your swing at him. I would say if your face is in fact in a good position, assuming that's true, number one, you're still going to have your old habits of which you had an open face, which includes your release pattern, which your brain always wants to go back to what it knows and what's comfortable. So that's one problem we're going to have. Two is it really depends on body pivot. If your face is actually good, you have to get past that habits part, but there's also body, meaning when you go during your downswing, the more slide you have, usually less forward shaft lean, the more rotation you can have as you work down into the follow through, the easier the shaft lean. So I would say the next piece I'd check for you would be body motions. Make sure you have enough rotation. Make sure you don't have too much lateral, and I would check that. Without having seen your swing. Of course, you could post it on CogornoGolf.com. Left-handed playing right, accurate but not enough speed. Tim, yeah, nothing in general that I'd say. No, I don't think so. No advice in terms of if you're normally one righty play lefty or lefty play righty. I would do it the same way if you were righty play righty. I would look at your swing, get feedback, identify the big issues, find priorities, work on them, give yourself feedback, exaggerate, work with a coach, but no specific advice for that, no. Living temporarily in a studio apartment and able to get to driving range only once per 1 to 2 weeks. Any benefit for practicing slow motion swings with video feedback at home? Definitely benefit to practicing at home, but you must have a golf ball present. So if there's not a golf ball, in my opinion, it almost doesn't count. The return on investment when you don't have a ball there to when you do have a ball there is like very little. Maybe in the very beginning of learning motion pattern with a mirror, so you know, but you have to have a ball there. Like you have got to have a ball there. What you could do at home is put a net up. That's one option. Or get foam or wiffle balls like we have back here, a little yellow foam ball, and hit balls into a wall or in your backyard or even at home a net and record those. That's great practice. Practice with a foam ball, to me, with feedback inside might be better than you being at the range. Like I can make a strong argument that you not seeing the result of the ball and going purely on swing motions when you're in the phase of changing that. Like that's why to me golf tech can work so good if you find the right person there, is because it's all inside. You can make changes faster probably. So I think that could work really good. Great stream. Thank you. We have a minute and a half. So I might go through like one or two more. I think we'll have one more. And then we'll wrap her up. Hey, Eric, any tips for someone who is bigger muscle mass wise? Feel your pain there. I don't know if you can see that animal there. Actually looks pretty small, if I'm being honest. Where'd that muscle go? Anyway, muscle-wise, in the upper body, trying to access my backswing and releasing the club. I would say, generally speaking, bigger guys, broad chest, broad shoulders, bigger arms, harder time to get your left arm across your pec. If you have a larger pec, larger arm, it doesn't work the same way as someone who's thinner. So usually, bigger guys, I don't try and get them as deep going back. I'd let them keep their hands and arms in front of their body more, get the club a little bit more laid off, definitely not down the line. So if you go short and down the line or across the line, is looking for steep. If you keep it in front of you and go short, you want to get the club more laid off going back. Here, keep it short and then just get it right back down on plane. So I'd keep the club a little bit more vertical in front of you, get it more laid off and use that. Very general statement, of course. I'd have to see you guys do that, but that'd be general. So We're going to wrap this up. Memorial Day special right on time. Once again, the Senior Golfer Masterclass, you guys haven't seen that. You probably have because we're promoting it, because we're doing the video every day. I think those videos can really help a lot of you guys build a pattern in as a senior, not just a senior golfer, but specifically guys or gals who lack speed, maybe flexibility. It's a nice pattern to play. I teach into a lot of players. Obviously, CogornoGolf.com. I want you guys checking that out, the community we have there. We built that so we can take what we're doing here and take it to a next level. I can actually see your swing. We actually have guided learning, have someone give you feedback, not guess like I did for a decade. So I'd really, really like you guys to join CogornoGolf.com because I know it's the best thing for your golf game. If you can't come see me in person, joining that is the best way you can get better. It's watching these YouTube videos, but with structure, not trying something different week to week or guessing, actually having structure along with it. So I urge you guys to join that as well. And we'll be back next Monday, 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope you guys have a good Memorial Day. Had fun. I'll see you guys next week.